Over the last 5 years, I've conducted a survey of more than 5,000 leaders. These leaders are from multiple organizations, industries across the board, and every level of the organization, from supervisor to CEO, from manager to a C-suite executive. And the survey consisted of just one simple question. The question I asked was this: as a leader, what do you want from your people? Think about that for a minute. What do you want from your people? Over 75% of the leaders that were surveyed responded with one single word, the same answer: commitment. That's what we want, isn't it? We want our people to be committed. We want them to be engaged. We want them to give their very best. We want them to show up every single day. We want commitment. But here's the key. People are not committed to jobs. They're not committed to companies. Ultimately, people are committed to people. It's people and relationships that engender trust, that engender respect, that create accountability, and ultimately commitment. You see, the old adage used to say that leadership was based on title, position, and authority. But you and I both know that people don't follow titles, they follow people. And so you think about it, if you and I want commitment out of our people, we need to approach leadership in a different way. Have you ever heard the saying that people join companies, but they leave bosses? That's because that's what drives commitment. Ultimately, it's the leader that pushes that commitment. And that's why in today's world, partnership is the new leadership. The new economy requires a new approach to leadership. And if you and I want our people to be committed, we need to approach leadership as a partnership that naturally engenders commitment from our people. Partnership is the new leadership. A few months ago, there were two cousins that started to fight over their family business. Now, this isn't really newsworthy. That happens all the time. If you've ever been in a family business before, it's quite common. But what happened in this instance was pretty incredible. Arthur T. DeMollis was the CEO of a very successful 71-store grocery store chain called Market Basket. It's based in Massachusetts. Arthur T. was also part owner. Technically, he owned 49.5% of the company. Now, the majority owner was his cousin, Arthur S. DeMollis. I understand this is getting confusing. Follow me for a minute. Arthur S., he owned 50.5% of the company. Now, Arthur T. and Arthur S. had very different approaches to leadership. They had very different views on how to run the business. And they battled over this for years. It got to the point where Arthur S., as the majority owner, he pressured the board and he forced his cousin out as CEO. And then what happened was honestly remarkable. 20,000 employees for Market Basket and thousands of their customers went on strike to support Arthur T. They literally walked out. And it's not that they just went on strike, they stopped shipments from coming into the stores. In a matter of weeks, they shut the company down. It was like this scene from a movie. You walked into one of these grocery stores and there were just empty shelves. It was vacant. There was nobody in there, no customers, no employees, just vacant. And here's my question. What would cause 20,000 employees to risk everything to show commitment to their leader? The answer is that Arthur T. understood things that Arthur S. didn't. You see, Arthur S. believed that his employees, his people, they were committed to Market Basket, but they weren't. The truth is that they were committed to their leader. They were committed to Arthur T. And Arthur T., he knew that partnership is the new leadership. He approached leadership in that fashion. He partnered with his people. He approved a $1,000 a quarter tuition reimbursement for all of his employees. They loved it. Arthur S. hated that payment. He thought it was totally ridiculous, something that they didn't need to do. Arthur T., he gave his minimum wage workers, his entry-level cashiers, $12 an hour as their starting wage. The state minimum wage, $8 an hour. Arthur T. had a relationship with his people. He knew them by name. He was constantly in the stores. He knew their families. It was amazing to me as I watched this whole thing unfold, as I watched the news. Every time a reporter interviewed one of the employees, when they were on the picket line, and they asked him about Arthur T., inevitably every single one of them, they would respond with a specific and personal experience. They would talk about ways that they interacted with their CEO. They would talk about times that he walked them to their car, and he just chatted with them. He just asked them about their life and their family. They would talk about how sometimes they'd come into work in the morning, and there was Arthur T., with a big smile on his face. He'd greet them by name. He'd shake their hand and he'd say, "I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here." He knew them and they knew him, and they loved him for it. Arthur S., he still held on to these old adages. He believed the old adage that title, because he was majority owner, that title gave him the right to be heard. But Arthur T. understood something that Arthur S. didn't, that in today's world, it's value. Value that you bring as a leader, value that you bring to your people, it's value that gives you the right to be heard. In today's world, you know what really drives business? It's culture. And so the leader's job today is to create and maintain a solid culture. Arthur T. worked unbelievably hard to create an incredible culture within Market Basket. It's a culture that Arthur S. didn't even understand because he never participated in it. In the end, Arthur S. was simply an investor. Arthur T., on the other hand, he was their partner. He was their leader. A few weeks into the strike, Arthur T. successfully bought out his cousin and became the sole owner of Market Basket. He reinstated himself as CEO, and the company is back on track. They're actually doing better than ever. That is the kind of leadership that works in today's economy. Partnership-based leadership is the way that you view your people. Partnership-based leadership is built on true, genuine relationships. Partnership-based leadership creates a natural accountability. It's not just accountability of the people to the leader, but also the leader to the people. And partnership-based leadership is executed with empathy. The old adage said that leadership is based on title, position, and authority. But the truth is, if you and I as leaders want to succeed in today's economy, it is imperative that we understand that partnership is the new leadership.